You're not on the field, court, or ice. You are on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall. Delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam.
Good evening and welcome to Coaching from the Couch, live from the WBGR Sports Network studios. I am your host, CWall, and welcome! Every week I have to welcome you all to the studio, and as you can see, I'm always smiling and shining all bright because y'all don't see my tears during the week and all my frustrations when my teams are letting me down. Y'all don't get to see that side when I just break down and fall out on my real couch at home. But thank you so much for joining. Before I get into it, because you already know it's a lot to get into. When is it not? What do I like to say? When is there a dull moment in DC sports? Never. So, but before we jump in, I got Sabrina's here and Joy is here. They decked out in their camo CWall gear. Up here in the building. Make sure you all share the show with your DC sports loving family and friends, because it's always great to watch it later. That's always awesome, and we appreciate every single solitary person that watches. But of course, the live conversation is always a lot more fun. So let's get into it. Starting off, let's wish a good luck to Swift Jared Hurd, hometown boxer, unified junior middleweight title holder. He is fighting this weekend at Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia. That is George Mason University's campus. And what an awesome thing it is, I'm sure, for him to be fighting in front of his hometown crowd. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet for the fight, please make sure you go out and get those tickets. He is fighting Julian J. Rock Williams at 8 o'clock Saturday night. And he's going to win. We're going to go ahead and call that now. Yeah. He's been doing a lot of training and going all around the area. I'm sure you all have caught him at some of the sporting events. I think he was at the DC United's game on Sunday. And he's been training really hard right here on the home front. So good luck to him, and I'm sure he will remain the champ. So, moving on. Wish we could have talked about that just a little bit while longer. Why? Because I'm moving on to the Nats. So, really quick, I see some people online. Hey, Chris. Hey to my godmother. Hey, Ricky. Hey, everybody. So, Nats fans, check in. Raise your hand if you are a Nats fan. It's okay. I'm going to raise both my hands. I'm going to raise both my hands. In a way, though, that might be like, Lord, help. Please help. So, look. The Nats are doing really bad. And this is not good for several different reasons, right? We're coming off of, and people are still talking about Bryce Harper and wanting Bryce to come back. I posed a question to Nats fans, which was, what do we do? What do we do? It's bad. It's sad out here. So, and we're going to get into what's going on. But I want to share, some of the feedback in a moment on, that answer to my question. But, diehard Nats fans, I get it. And folks love Bryce Harper. But in the words of my fellow Nats fan, Ron Blackwell, Bryce Harper is gone and he ain't coming back. So we just got to let Bryce go. We got to let him go. And, can't do too much of the comparisons. We have to let him go. Although I did, last week when his hometown fans booed him last week when they were playing the Nats, I did smirk a little bit. But at the same, but just we got to let him go and deal with what's happening now. So many injuries. Now, when the season first started, I came up here and I shared that I wasn't too sure about this thing. I was like, you know what, y'all? I'm not too sure about this thing at all. At all. Then they started playing well. Bats are working. Guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, it started getting a little, started going downhill. Then the injuries have started to hit. So, this is probably the first time in a few years the Nats are 8 games under 500. They haven't had a series win in almost a month. Okay? This week, they got swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. Right? They're 7 games back. They're at 14-22 right now. That doesn't, it doesn't even, it hurt to say it. It hurt to say out loud. Ugh. And they're 7 games back behind Philly. And they haven't even been, like I said, 8 games under 500. I think it's been, 7 or 8 years. It's been 8 years since 2011 since they've had a record of this type. So Anthony Rendon, he's returning. He had an elbow injury. Trey Turner hurt his finger. Juan Soto had issues with his back. We were talking about that last week. Ron Zimmerman has issues with his foot. And the replacements just have not stepped up to the plate. Pun intended, all puns intended. However you like to take it, it is just not doing well. Then we got Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin. I got really excited about Corbin at one point early on. And it's just, things just have not been going well for everybody else behind them. And I don't really know what the answer is, you all. Some of the things that we've been seeing them have issues with were things that should have been addressed in spring training. So the defense, and these were things that they said were being addressed, the defense, the base running, those things should have been addressed in spring training. They had issues with some of that last year. Things have not improved. And with the injuries, it makes it even worse. It's bothering me. Can you tell? I'm having a hard time just talking about it. Because the season is so long. And that's what we like to say. The season is long. But things like defense and base running, you can't just fix those things mid-season. So I don't know what the answer is to that. So I asked some of my fellow Nats fans, what are we to do? What is going on right now? And so, of course, Daryl Hall, he says, bring Dusty back. Bring back Dusty. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen. You never know. I have a little bit more confidence in that happening than Bryce ever coming back. Ron Blackwell, mentioning him again, he says, get healthy and timely hitting. We're leaving way too many runners on base in scoring position. Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree with that. I said something at the beginning of the baseball season that I was questioning some of Davey Martinez's decision making when it came to the bullpen. And the bullpen still has so many holes in it. It's just, and I don't know if, and it's not like it's an easy fix. Like, I'm critical of the bullpen, yet the issues that the bullpen has, I don't know if there's a simple fix to it. right? I don't know if you can just say, okay, we're going to sign a couple free agents, so we're going to do this, do that, and we're good. I don't know if that's what it is. I have to think about it a little bit more. The Nats are out in LA to face the Dodgers, so they have a very late game tonight. It doesn't come on Eastern time till like 10 o'clock. So I doubt I'll be able to check it. But the pitching coach got fired last week. Pitching coach is out. So with that being said, Davey Martinez is on the clock. I think he's on the clock, everybody. Yes, there are injuries, though. We cannot forget that there have been a multitude of injuries that have certainly plagued this roster. But I don't think that's going to be the saving grace to keep Davey around. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting any feedback online from my folks, but this is not good. I see a whole lot of prayer for the Nats, deep prayer, and fasting and praying while you're at it, because it doesn't look good and it's sad. So we're gonna see what happens. Again, the season is long. We can talk about this once every week. Make sure you're chiming in. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Williams says no. Dave will be the manager of the new guys, so no change.
I mean, hey, well then we really in for a long season, Ricky. I'm holding on to hope, like I do every week.
Says the fans are coming out. The Navy Yard is packed.
Well, yeah, the Navy Yard is packed, but last week, remember they reported that the attendance is the lowest it's been in like 5 years. So that's not a good look. It's still a lot of people, but not what they're used to. So it's still a lot, just not as many fans are coming out. So we got to see, because okay, the fan favorite, let's just be real about it. The fan favorite is not here. That's Bryce Harper. And then with the injuries and the team responding, we really don't have a fan favorite. Anthony Rendon may be it, right? Trey Turner may be it a bit. Of course, Ryan Zimmerman, Mad Max, one blue-eyed Max, maybe him. But it's not a consistent across the board. This is the player that everybody, loves for the most part. This is going to be a tough one.
Ricky said Bryce put the butts in the seats. That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fan favorite. He was a ticket selling machine. That is exactly right, Joy. And so he got people in. And that's one reason why people aren't there. But on top of, once your starters start going down, once people start getting hurt, then you got a team full of who's that guy? I don't know who that is. And so people aren't coming because of that. So when you have to go through a restructuring too, and we can have a whole separate show just on this topic alone, which is when you have to restructure or your fan favorite goes, that's when the marketing has to jump up. That's when the whole marketing and pushing it. I don't think folks realized what pull Bryce had from a ticket selling machine perspective, because the outcome wasn't always the best. Right? So that's why it's like, well, who cares? But he sold tickets. So that's where we are right now. Not looking good for the Nats. I hope it improves, but who knows? So let's check it out. Let's move on to the Wizards general manager search. Still searching. I haven't heard anything else new per se from what we discussed last week. But what I do want to bring up is an article that Candace Buckner of the Washington Post put out earlier this week. It was a great article. Kudos to Candace. That definitely had an overall summary over the years of the Grunfeld era. And what just spoke mountains to me was everything that she wrote about regarding the Wizards' culture. Whomever the general manager is, him or her will have to be a culture transformer. Because historically, the Wizards as an organization haven't had the best reputation. Known to have an anything goes sort of mentality. Players will run over you mentality. It was noted that when Paul Pierce was here, there could have been perhaps a thinking and a piece of kind of accountability, if you will, but that left when he left. So not a consistent, just mutual respect, kind of disciplinarian, family-oriented, conflict manager sort of personality, if you will. One thing that was also noted, players, they liked Ernie, but it didn't necessarily get them over the hump of where they needed to go as an organization, and what we talk about on the court as well. So in this part of the conversation, it's not so much about who they're picking or who they're choosing. It's they really have to think through the characteristics of this person, because this person has to change the culture around there. This person also, and hear me out, folks, before I say this, has to be given some time to make things happen. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a splash, but a splash in a way that might not be like the splash that everyone's used to. I mean, I had to ask, is John Wall's contract the worst in the league? And that's what most of the NBA analysts are saying, that yes, he absolutely has the worst contract in the league. And one of the reasons being, in my opinion, why they believe that is because the best ability is availability, and he's unavailable. And is guaranteed this money every year, even when he's not playing. It's a killer trade clause in there where he gets like 15% up front if you trade him. So, right? So, you can't do much when he's hitting the cap like that. You can't do much with getting stars in the building. Because technically you got two stars, right? You got Bradley Beal and you have John Wall, and you know that there's been conversation still about teams wanting to trade for Brad. Teams want Brad. It's not that the Wizards are trying to deal him, but teams want him. So you never can tell what'll happen in these trade conversations. But John's getting paid a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. We'll be looking at this year, 37.8, 2020 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 40.8, then it's 43.8, then it's 46.8. He might be out all of next season. So whomever the general manager is, I'm going to go back to an opportunity to change the culture and draft very well. Draft very well, change the culture. Because a big, huge splash in free agency might not be what's about to happen, in just my opinion. It was a great article. If you all haven't read it, please go check it out. And some of it we already knew. We the Wizards have gotten stuck with quite a few bad contracts as a result of the Grunfeld era. So we still got Johns and we still have Mahimis. So we're going to deal with that. But keep those things in mind, because, it's difficult. And I see Ricky's comment. That nobody's going to want to take John's contract. That's a heavy I wouldn't. So that's what I'm saying. You might have to just deal with that. So if you have to deal with that, then you still work on changing the culture around there and draft very well. The draft lottery, the NBA draft lottery is next Tuesday. Oh, please, Lord, let us get a top 5 pick. And Lord, please let us please get a GM that knows talent. Draft well. And that's all I got on that one. Talking about that CWall contract makes me sad. Because I like John a lot. Ooh, I do, everybody. But Lord, that contract, my word. All right. Redskins fans, you're up. Are you with us? Are you still with us?
Rick is in the building. The Redskins fans
I almost just fell out the chair. I just like everybody to know. Oh my gosh. If I would have fell out this chair, I didn't have to tell y'all, but it was funny. So that's why I said something. But at any rate, Redskins rookie minicamp is this weekend. And they have 68 players that are going to start working out together starting tomorrow out in Ashburn. So it's a mixture of the 10 draft picks, 8 signed college free agents, and then like 50 tryout players. 50 other players were invited to come on and try out. So I want to wish everybody good luck. Yeah. I think it's just fantastic. It has to be exciting for them and for all of their families. Understanding, again, we got to go back to something we talked about last week. Do you want to perform at a high level right out of the gate, or is it just being patient? I mean, be patient, see what's there. I mean, 68 players, that's a lot to look at in a short period of time. So I wanted to take some time to kind of go through at least the 10 draft picks, right? Well, not all 10. We'll go through 8 because we talked a bit about Dwayne Haskins last week. Talked a bit about Montez Sweat. So don't have to talk about them this week. Let's go to wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who was drafted in the 3rd round. You know, the Skins traded away their 2nd round pick, which was cool because they got 2 in the 1st round. So 3rd round, Terry McLaurin, wide receiver from Ohio State. So he is very, very familiar with Dwayne Haskins. So McLaurin got some positive reviews out of the Senior Bowl in January. So everyone is really, excited. Let's just say this. You're going to probably hear me say that a lot talking about these players because everyone is excited about these guys. So it's all good. Here's some things that I really liked and what was mentioned. He caught 71% of his targets, 9th best wide receiver numbers in this year's class. He averaged 14.3 yards per target, which the 14.3 yards per target put him at number 1 in his class. So he caught 11 touchdowns this season, tied for the 6th most. So this is somebody that Haskins is familiar with. It's someone who is ready to show and prove. So I think that is just fantastic. We're going to move on to the round 3. So the round 3, number 96, that was traded to the Buffalo Bills. That was away, the Buffalo Bills. Bryce Love. Now, see, y'all got now I got to spend the whole rest of my time talking about this one right here. Bryce Love is a running back from Stanford. Wow. Great young man. Another plug. He had an article on the Players Tribune before the NFL draft. Oh, let me just tell you, it was really good. He starts out this article as it says this: Dear NFL GMs, my name is Bryce Love and I'm the best running back in this draft. Listen, kid.
Right.
Come on. Come on with us. Come on with us, young man. Listen. Here's why that was so big to me. Not in an arrogant way, but in a confident way. He's coming off of a major injury. The very last game of his college career, he tore his ACL. So for him to still have that much faith and confidence in himself where he says, look, this is who I am, and I'm the best running back in this draft, sir, I can dig it all day long. For real. That's cool. I really like that. I know there was some chatter, right, about how Geis felt about Bryce Love, and there was some confusion. I want to share some of, I think the skit, hey, he was rated high, Bryce Love. So he was still there in the 4th round. They didn't want to pass him up. You know, when you got a high caliber player, he's doing what he needs to do to rehab. He's going to start the year off on the physically unable to perform list. So he's going to be on the PUP list. So, but at least you got him. You know, get him in the building. Get his rehab going in the right direction. But you have him. Right? So, Coach Gruden, after the draft, he had this to say about Darius Geis, which is, Darius has been awesome. This is no reflection on anybody. Basically meaning, they're picking up Bryce Love is not a reflection on anybody. But to continue what Coach Gruden was saying, we just got an opportunity to draft one heck of a player with an unbelievable production at a big-time school. But Darius is on track to be full go soon. So, listen. This is a huge opportunity for the Skins to finally really beef up their running back core. Which we need to do. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I always feel like you can never have too much of anything. Especially the way the injury bug may hit this team. So I just couldn't get enough of that article. And let me say this too about Bryce Love in that article that he wrote for the Players Tribune. He was so direct. You know, I love direct people. Clear and concise in his messaging in that article and letting it be very clear. Let's get right to the elephant in the room, right? Yeah, I got hurt. Yeah, this is what this is. Yeah, this is what that is. But let me read this because I'm telling you, I was picking up nuggets and I was like, oh, yes, yes, that is good. I don't know who advised him, but that was good. He says, I know that some people are wondering about my durability, but let's dig in and really examine that. In 4 seasons at Stanford, I only missed 4 games total. I tore my ACL in the very last game of my collegiate career, giving everything I could to score and help my team defeat our biggest rival. That desire to win is coming with me to whichever franchise drafts me. Well, the Redskins got him. Daggone it. And then that's all I have to say.
Can I just pose a question?
Sure, yeah.
Is there anything wrong with a little healthy competition?
Absolutely not.
Great and drive each other and motivate.
Everybody be great. That's what we need. Right, yeah. And that's what it should be. That should be the culture. That should be the culture. Because sometimes people sometimes. Anybody should know, watching the Redskins these last 2 years, that injuries happen. A lot. Now, I don't know if you all have read, but the Redskins have also hired outside consultants to help them look at their physical therapy, their program. Right. To look at that, what they're doing. What could they be doing better? Mm-hmm. This is a big deal. Yeah. Because injuries can't be the excuse every year. Mm-hmm. But you also don't want people hurt every year like that either. Right. So it's got to be a level of protection for your players as well, that you're willing to invest in having that done.
Right.
Okay, y'all, something ain't right. This is the 2 years in a row. We got to figure this out. I'm good with it. Good. And please, good. All the healthy competition in the world. Because before we run out of time, let me just say this. I don't know how Samaj P. Ryan is still on the team.
Why?
Listen, he's a very nice person.
Talking about professional.
That is my go-to all the time. Very nice. So check it out. We're already at our time, and we're going to continue going through the draft picks next week. Thank you all so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday.